Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm testing new puff heat transfer vinyl from Michael's Make Market collection. I'll be trying out their stripes and sprinkles pattern and a solid sampler that comes with 3 holiday colors. They also have puff HTV available in 9 additional colors. The stripes and sprinkles design instantly reminded me of those Little Debbie Christmas cakes, so of course I wanted to make a Christmas shirt with that. Let's jump in and see how well these work. There's instructions on the box and I am just going to follow that. I'll head over to my computer so I can show you how I put my SVGs together. First, I'm going to grab my SVG from Creative Fabrica. This is the one that I found. I'm going to use the puff HTV for the tree, but I also like how they have it in time, so I'm going to use it in that word too, and I think that will be really fun. I've already downloaded it and have it uploaded in Cricut Design Space, so let me go over there. One thing I want to show you is I uploaded it as an SVG. Let me go to my upload images. If I uploaded it as a PNG, this is what it would look like, but since I'm cutting this out on vinyl and not using print and cut, then I need the SVG. This is what the SVG looks like. I'm just going to load that into Cricut Design Space. I do need to change a few things with this. As you can see right now, the puff HTV would just be outlines, and that's definitely not what I want. With puff HTV, you want solid images or fonts because it will really show off that puff. What I want to do first is ungroup this SVG. I'm going to select on time, then I am going to go down to contour. To do this, I am just going to select the letters on the inside. This will give me those like block letters. So that is perfect. Now with the Christmas tree, I'm going to click contour. I'm going to try hide all contours. I honestly don't love the way that looks. It looks a little funky at the top, and let me see. Let me try hitting contour. I think that looks so much better. I'm just going to leave it like that. Let me go back to contour. I just have the top one selected. This is going on a black shirt, so I'm going to make all the wording white. I'm just going to highlight over this, and I'm actually going to hit shift on my keyboard and select all of it besides time and the Christmas tree. And I'm going to select attach. I want everything attached together. Then I'll come up to my color and switch it to white. I'm just going to leave both of these black. I want them the same color so it shows up on the same mat, and that's going to be the puff HTV. This is going on a large shirt. 10 inches for the width is usually good for a large. I'll hit select all. Then I am going to type in 10. Now I can go to the make screen. Here's what the first mat looks like, and here's the second one. For my cut setting, I'm going to select Everyday Iron-On, and as you can see, it will automatically mirror it. I'm going to turn my heat press on so it'll heat up while the Cricut's cutting out my design. The box said to set the temperature between 280 to 290 degrees. I decided to go with 280 degrees, and it said to set it for 10 seconds. It's starting with the white vinyl, and I am just using regular heat transfer vinyl. This is Caesar brand. I place it carrier sheet side down, which is the glossy side down. Then I'll load it into the Cricut machine and it will cut out my design. Now I'm ready to cut the puff heat transfer vinyl. As I was laying the HTV on the mat, I realized that the stripes were going the opposite direction than I wanted them to go. You can see the picture on the screen. The red, you want it to go horizontal. I decided to cut it down to size because it would have been hard to switch it the other direction since it's a roll of vinyl. I looked at my Cricut screen and saw that I needed it to be 10 inches by 6 inches. I always go a little bit extra just to be safe that I don't cut off any of my wording or SVG. Now I have the pattern going the direction that I want it. I load it into my Cricut machine and it will cut out my design. Now I'm ready to weed out my heat transfer vinyl. HTV is fairly easy to weed compared to regular vinyl. I do have a trick though. Sometimes it can be hard to see the cut line. If you bend the vinyl a little bit, then you can see the line a little bit better. Now I'm ready to weed the Puff HTV. This weeded really smoothly. I just needed to adjust the cut setting a little bit. I used everyday iron-on, but if I just increased the pressure to more, I think it would have been perfect. This project is definitely making me want to buy those little Debbie cakes because they're so good. It's recommended to preheat the shirt for 5 seconds. I always like to fold the shirt in half. I make sure the armpits are lined up perfectly. Then I press for those 5 seconds. Once I'm done, it will not only preheat the shirt, but it will also create a line or crease directly down the center so I know exactly where to center my vinyl. Now I want to find the center of my vinyl. I added my Christmas tree on there since that will make a difference with it. I fold it down, then I just put a little crease on the top center. After that, I remove the Christmas tree. I want to press just my regular vinyl first. Then I move the collar off of the heat plate. I want the shirt to be as flat as possible. Once I do that, I place my Teflon sheet on top and press for just about 5 seconds since I will be doing 2 presses. I remove the carrier sheet. I do this slowly just to make sure it fully adhered. Now I can add my Puff HTV. I can add both of them and press at the same time since they won't be overlapping each other. I use my Teflon sheet again. If you don't have one, you can use parchment paper as well. And this time I press it for the full 10 seconds. It says to remove the carrier sheet from design while hot. When I did this, it was completely flat. There was no puff whatsoever, but it does say to replace the parchment paper or Teflon sheet over your design and press with medium pressure for an additional 5 seconds. So I decided to try that. After doing that, there was no change whatsoever. I did not see it puff up at all. Here's what it looks like. It basically looks just like regular vinyl. It's also nice and smooth. Sometimes Puff HTV gets that brainy look. So it didn't work, but I'm not going to give up yet. I will say, even if this didn't puff up, I'd probably buy this vinyl anyways because it's so cool how it looks like the Christmas tree cakes. But like I said, I want to give it another try. I'm going to switch my heat press to 290 degrees and I'll keep it at the 10 seconds. Then I'll go into Cricut Design Space and show you my next design. I'll click on my uploads and grab my next SVG. I found this one on Creative Fabrica also. What I'm going to do is have the top be red Puff HTV and the bottom be green Puff HTV. I need to ungroup it. Mary is also grouped together, so I need to ungroup that. I'll drag over all of those letters, then switch it to red. I'm going to ungroup bright. Then I will switch those letters to green. Also, these little pieces, since I'm using Puff HTV, I think it'll be easier just to delete them. I'm going to highlight over the whole thing. I am going to make it 8 inches for the width. My t-shirt is a size medium. I also need to attach all the colors together. So I'll highlight over all the red, click attach. I'll highlight over all the green and click attach. And let's see about the and. It looks like that one also needs to be attached. Now I can go to the make screen. It'll separate it all by different colors. I'll hit continue. The black is just going to be regular everyday iron-on. The other two is going to be the Puff HTV. For the puff, I'm just going to select more for my cut pressure because it seemed like it needed to cut through a little bit more. The Cricut machine will cut out each color, then I will go in and weed out my designs. I forgot to say the price of the Puff HTV from Michaels. It is regularly $9.99 and I got it on sale. It was 25% off, so it was $7.49 and they are 12 by 24 inches. However, this Christmas sampler, it comes with the 3 colors. It was still $7.49, but they are 12 by 12 inches. I follow the same process for this t-shirt to find the center and preheat it. I also add my 3 pieces of the design to the shirt. I like to add the whole thing on there, then I remove the ones that I'm not pressing. This black HTV is also Caesar brand. I press it for just 5 seconds, then I remove the carrier sheet. I can press both Puff HTV vinyls down at the same time again, which is nice. I press it for the full 10 seconds. Once it was done and I removed the Teflon sheet, I got so excited because you can see it actually puffed up. I decided to follow the process of pressing it one more time for 5 seconds without the carrier sheet, but I just held the heat press down. I didn't fully clamp it down, which seemed to work well. Here's a look of how this turned out. This design is really cool for Puff HTV. I was so happy with it. I felt like I could tell with the green that it puffed up a little bit more than the red for some reason. I am happy with how this turned out. I feel like I've had other brands puff up a little bit more, but I feel like this still is not too bad. I really wanted the Christmas tree to puff up, so I found another shirt and decided to try it again. And as you can see, I accidentally pressed my t-shirt guide, so it started to melt. Here I'm pressing the Puff HTV. I didn't notice too much of a difference at first, but then as I started to take away the carrier sheet, I could see it puff up a little bit. I decided to just put a little more heat on it for 5 seconds, and as you can see, it puffed up even more after doing that. However, it did make it a little bit rougher, so just be aware of that. Maybe do it a little less than 5 seconds and it could be perfect. Here's another look at this t-shirt. I had so much fun working with this. I would say it's not as puffy as some other brands. It's kind of somewhere in the middle. I do really like this pattern as well, and the price isn't too bad. Let me know what you guys think. Is it something that you would pick up? Puff HTV can be so tricky, so it can make it a little bit difficult to want to even work with it, but the results are really fun. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. I would also love it if you subscribe to my YouTube channel.